Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to present my final project for the 15-112 course. So as you see, my project is called Space Invader, which is a simple shooting game in which the player controls a spaceship and tries to kill all the space enemies. Also, the ship is provided with a laser cannon in which the player can shoot and fire the aliens while moving horizontally, and the player wins points every time he succeeds in hitting an alien. As more aliens are defeated, the aliens' movement will be speeding up. On the other side, the aliens will also try to beat you by firing the ship while they approach the bottom of the screen. If the aliens reach the bottom, the game will be over. In addition, the game will be also over if the aliens' shots hit the ship 4 times, in which each ship has 3 chances. As you can see, there are different shapes, colors, and sizes of the aliens, and the earning points differ when you defeat the aliens according to their type. For example, killing a green alien will give you 30 points, while killing a blue alien will give you only 10 points. As you can see, in front of the ship, there is a defending row with boxes that defend the ship from the aliens' lasers, but these boxes will be destroyed and affected by the lasers of both the player and the alien. And you should know that this game consists of many rounds. Every time the player defeats the group of aliens, a new group of aliens will appear until the game is over due to one of the 2 reasons that I mentioned before. Now let's talk about the coding side and how did I use different libraries in order to develop this game. Pygame is the main library I used in this code. Pygame is a game library that helped me a lot in making the graphics and animation, the sounds, and also the control, in which, for example, for shooting I use the keyboard, the space, and for moving the ship by using the arrows. So Pygame made all of these things easier. At first, we should all know that the heart of every game is a loop, in which a loop runs over and over again in a constant manner. So in my code, I focused on 3 main categories. The first one is the process input. The process input means that anything from outside my game that I want to pay attention to, such as a key pressed on the keyboard or in the mouse. The second category is the update game. This means changing anything that needs to change on this frame. For example, if the laser cannon hits the invader should be explode and removed from the screen. The third category is the render or the draw. In this step, we draw everything on the screen: background, characters, menus, score, and chances, for example. Let me now see this part of my code, which will give you a general idea about how I implement or the structure of my code. At first, you can see that I import 2 more libraries other than Pygame, which are sys and random. I used sys to allow the game to exit from Python by pressing certain keys. And random, I used it mainly for the invader shooting, in which the invaders shot their bullets in a random manner, not in a strict sequence. Then I create the game window or the screen of the game with these certain dimensions. Then I decided which font I will use for the messages and writings that will appear on the screen. Then I assign and code the pictures that I used for this game. Then I use the object-oriented programming structure in order to implement a class called fighter, which is related to the ship. So I define the instant attributes for this class. You can see there is something called sprite-to-sprite, which I will explain it in a second. Then there is something called self.picture, in which I assign the picture for the ship, which is named ship. Then there is self.direct, which is related to the position of the ship, and self.speed, which is a constant equal to 5. The second function is this class, which is an important function, which since it assigns the change in position of the ship. So the first condition that if I press the left arrow key button, and the position of the ship is more than 10, the position of the ship will decrease by 5 every time I press the left arrow button. And if the position of the ship is less than 740, and every time I press the right arrow button, the position of the ship will increase by 5. Now let's describe what is a sprite. A sprite is a computer graphics term for any object on the screen that can move around. So when you play any 2D game, all the objects you can see on the screen are sprites. Sprites can be animated, they can be controlled by the player, and they can even interact with each other. In my case, for example, I have a group of invaders or enemies. Fortunately, Pygame has a good solution for this, which is the sprite group. A sprite group is just a collection of sprites that you can act on all at the same time. This implies to us that clock and time is another important aspect of the game loop, which controls how fast the whole loop runs. Now, what is the next step? While I'm doing this video, I'm working in making this game a multiplayer game in which 2 players can play at the same time from different computers, but till now I'm facing some issues.